Welcome to the process. It is Wednesday, November 3rd. Yes, it's definitely Wednesday. I am Josh Engleman. I'm here to break down a big one. We have 11 games on the docket for today. We're going to be here for the next 90 minutes for sure. So buckle up. I hope you have all your stuff ready because it's coming. I see the coffee cups in chat from Jack. Good to see it. Please hit that like button as you get in here. Making sure my door's shut. Hit that like button as you get in the door. Subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton. Hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss these shows. Apologies for the 6 a.m. start on there. That should have been set to 6:30, but no matter. No luck yesterday. Not enough of the best things that happened. Who was it, actually? Who hurt me the most? I think I still have this stuff up here. I could look quickly. Donovan Mitchell, I had a ton of. That went well. Chris Paul, I had quite a bit less of. That went worse. I had a lot of Christian Wood. Good. Not as much Jay Crowder as I would have liked, so meh. But the big things for me were at the opposite end. De'Aaron Fox salvaged a bit. Got to 38 fantasy points on FanDuel. Really, really rough first half. Could have used a little bit more there. I was pretty heavy on Fox. And then at the bottom, I had some Eric Gordon. That didn't work out well. I went heavy to JaVale McGee. That did not work out the way that I wanted it to. I went pretty heavy to Şengün after he was named the starter. That did not work out well. And I'm happy with those moves. I want to get more McGee based on that late swap. I want to get more Şengün in that late swap. The Eric Gordon one's just bad luck. But you know, what are you going to do? It's another day. I mentioned this yesterday. Izzy, what's up? Melvin, what's up? I mentioned this yesterday. Just want to reiterate here now. I am not playing this slate tonight. I will not be around for updates. I will not be posting anything anytime after basically, 3 o'clock in the afternoon today. I'm just going to be gone. Plans with the wife. Not going to have me around. So no updates today. What you see here is what you get. And I've probably taken already 3-4. We're live for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I got to just dive into it now because we got 11 games. We have an absolute ton to talk about today. So let's do it like this. You guys know the drill. Rise and grind. Feeling good today. Feeling energetic. I had a light day of food, which makes me feel good because tonight, I've been pretty good about eating and not drinking the hard stuff as of late. And I'm feeling fantastic. Lots of energy each one of these mornings. Today's going to be a little bit different. Tasting menu, wine pairings. Luckily, we only have a 5-game slate tomorrow, so it's going to be a little bit easier. Anyway, rise and grind, everybody. Good morning. Grab your coffees, waters, beers, joints, teas, whatever you got for today. We're going to need it. Hopefully, whatever you have is some sort of upper. I'm going to go with caffeine. Your mileage may vary. Cheers, everybody. There's very little better in life than that first sip of coffee. Alrighty then. Let's go ahead and start the tunage in the background. transition this screen to this. And it's time to give that shout out to Prize Picks. You guys can see the banner at the top of the screen. Use the promo code Awesemo when you sign up at Prize Picks. Get a 100% instant match deposit bonus. We have plenty of free tools on the website, whether that's for baseball, which is done. Go Braves, by the way. NFL, NBA. We've got player prop tools all over that can help you make those decisions. You should use them. They are free. They will help you more on Prize Picks. Plus, you get the free loot when you first start it out. I should be rocking some Braves gear today, shouldn't I? At the very least, I should be putting on like a Braves hat. Oh well, what are you going to do? Let's get into this now, because this is going to take a while. Look at all those games. You guys know how long I take to do this stuff. We're kicking it off. Portland in Cleveland. Blazers are 3.5-point favorites, 220 total. No injury news for Portland. Might as well look at Cleveland while we're here. Cleveland does have Isaac Okoro and Kevin Love still out, so that'll look pretty similar to the last game. I don't get the sense that we have a big change to make here for Portland. I assume most of this is going to look fine. The limited minutes for Covington the last time out wasn't really ideal, but I mean, I have to just assume that he's going to play like 38 minutes more often than not. Yeah, I don't really see any of these that I want to change. Nurk up to 28 and then 18. I think maybe the only one that I would really care about. Ooh, quick pause. Gotta let the dog in the bedroom. I can hear him coming up the steps right now. Dog is ridiculous. Knows I'm sitting up here. I mean, I go down, I let him out, I feed him. I try to come upstairs and let him back into my bedroom, and he just never wants to come up. But the moment I start this show, dude, I hear him traipsing up the steps. Ugh. Killing me. I'm happy with these rotations for Portland. They're not a team that changes all that often. We already know that. Let's get to Cleveland, who also I don't think is going to be changing all that much here. But they at least did have a little bit of turnover that last game, so who knows what changed. All right, so they locked it down. They went to an 8-man rotation with no Kevin Love. I don't think that is going to be the case moving forward, but we do have to make some adjustments. So we're going to give Chetty a bump in minutes from the minutes that I had given to Dylan Windler and Lamar Stevens. Dean Wade is going to stay in the rotation. So right now I have the 8 guys in that played. I am not going to maintain that sort of theory. So Jared Allen's good. I think Mobley is good. I think Garland is good. I mean, honestly, the only thing that's standing out to me in the minutes there is the fact that Mobley played 40. But taking every one of these guys to 34 doesn't seem outlandish. Or at least getting... I'm going to take Garland up to 34. Ricky Rubio played 24, so I could leave him at 26. Let's get Garland to 34 minutes. I think that's the goal. We'll take let's get him to 33. Sexton to 34. I'm going to do 35 for Mobley. 32 for Jared Allen seems right. That opens me up a little bit more. So now we've got all 8 guys in. T. McBee, good morning. Cantor, good morning. Coffees. Ryan, I don't know how you totally mean this, but everything is porn if you use if you really want it to be. So you're welcome for whatever's happening right now. I hope my voice is the thing that helps. Okay, so I think that minutes breakdown is fine. I guess I should probably give more to Markkanen. He's averaging 31 minutes a game. I got him in for 30. I'll at least take him to that 31 mark. And now I'm just going to split those minutes between Dylan Windler and Lamar Stevens. I don't know how else I would do that. So we're going to go Lamar Stevens 8. We're going to go Dylan Windler 9. And I think that they're just going to run that normal rotation. All right, let's look and see what stands out for Cleveland and Portland. Did I not update this? Okay. Let's clear out some of the dead wood from yesterday that I didn't do. There we go. And we'll open this up so that I can get my actual shit out of there. There we go. That'll clean it up. Now we're good. Portland. On the Portland side, Damian Lillard is 8,300. Stop me if you've heard this before. I'm going to be playing Damian Lillard. Robert Covington, unfortunately, looks like an okay value play. He's been terrible so far this season. We'll see where that needs to take us. Norm Powell, 4,600 on DraftKings again. Very good value. No way to really go a different... Wow, 5 games start at 7. That's going to be a hell of a live before lock. All right, so summary up for Portland. Dame on FanDuel, Covington on FanDuel, Norm on DraftKings, Covington on DraftKings. That's about it. Cleveland. And you guys know the drill. Keep hitting that like button. We're looking for 100 by the time we get to 7 a.m. On the Cleveland side, I think Evan Mobley is very reasonable across both sites. I think Jared Allen is very reasonable across both sites. I think even Sexton and Garland aren't all that crazy across both sites. Markkanen for 5,400 is a lot better on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. If we're talking about like guys that I would expect to get a lot of, Jared Allen is the primary. Evan Mobley would be second. Six, what up? 1 p.m. in Jordan. That's fun to know. Good to have you here. That's exciting stuff. You might be the first person from Jordan ever tuning into this bad boy. Let's move it on to the next one. New York Knicks at the Indiana Pacers. Knicks are 1-point dogs in Indiana. What do we need to know about this Knicks team right now? Q tag on Nerlens Noel, Q tag on Taj Gibson. I assume we get one of them, and it doesn't really matter which one it is. So we'll move forward with that. From Indiana, I assume they've got a lot of garbage. So Malcolm Brogdon questionable, no Warren, no Lamb. That could be worse. So probably not making a ton of changes here for New York. I mean, this is not a team that rotates their rotation all that frequently. Yeah, no. Indiana plays every day. It's a permanent back-to-back for the Pacers. Kemba played 28. Rose played about 20. That all seems fine. Obi Toppin's playing limited minutes. Taj is playing limited minutes. Mitchell Robinson in at 29. That's what their goal is. 33 for Fournier. We're right where we need to be. There's no changes to be made here. Knicks are in. Morning, butthole. On to the Pacers. I don't really know what I want to do here just because Malcolm Brogdon's been out for 3 straight games, but he's got to come back eventually. I just don't know how to project him in or out right now. Okay. Brogdon said he was planning to get back out there today. So let's go ahead and assume that Malcolm Brogdon is going to be playing today. If that happens, Malcolm Brogdon, I would expect to play 34 minutes at point guard. Brad Wanamaker will play precisely 0 minutes, I would imagine. We'll take O'Shea Brissett's minutes away. We'll take Goga's minutes away. We'll take Karis LeVert's minutes away. We're going to knock TJ McConnell back down to his standard issue 24. Take Torrey Craig's away as well. Miles Turner in for 30. I'm going to go 29. I don't totally trust it. We'll go... I mean, they've used a lot of Goga as of late. Oh, I guess by a lot, I mean 3 games. New York is probably not necessary. So let's go 19 and 17. That gets us to 36 on some bonus. Now we can fill in the rest of these rotations. So Chris Duarte in for 34 minutes. I have no changes that I want to make there. Getting Karis LeVert additional time. He played 24 minutes 2 days ago. I'm going to assume that that continues to rise. Let's go, take him to 26. Let's see. $25 minutes left. Only 7 guys in the rotation. Torrey Craig seems like he needs the biggest chunk of this. Justin Holiday in for 32. I'm going to take 2 away there now that I'm assuming Brogdon is back. So that leaves me 9 additional minutes for someone else in this rotation. Whether that's Brad Wanamaker or Keelan Martin. I'm going to go Keelan Martin. I don't think it matters all that much. But that gets us to the 9-man Pacers rotation, which they've been pretty good about running. You just swap out Lamb for LeVert. So, next game up. Let's look at the Knicks. If I'm playing anybody from the Knicks, it's probably Mitchell Robinson for 4,700 on DraftKings. Even if he's been bad, that is a spot you can't really get away from a value perspective. There's too much upside there on a day like today. I mean, his ceiling based on the 29 minutes that I gave him is 36.6. If he hits 5x plus 10 there, that's 3 points ahead of that. You got to be looking at Mitchell Robinson. Robinson's fine on FanDuel at 5,600 too. I don't really mind that. A lot of value here for the Knicks. You know, you can always get to Julius Randle. He's probably got the highest ceiling. Well, he definitely has the highest ceiling here. I think Fournier's price across both sites is fine. Derrick Rose on DraftKings for 4,400 is always capable of falling into more minutes. But I'd say Mitchell Robinson on DK is my favorite piece from the Knicks. For the Pacers, not a lot here. 4K Justin Holiday, value option. Miles Turner, 6,100 on DraftKings. That works. Nothing too crazy from Indiana, so I think we can keep going. You got to remember, on an 11-game slate, like the margin, I can recommend 60 guys. We really want to try to only touch on the people that are going to be getting jammed in. We'll go to Boston. Boston taking on the Orlando Magic. Celtics are 7-point favorites in Orlando. On the Boston side, we have no injury news to speak of. On the Orlando side, just Gary Harris being questionable, so probably not a lot of changes to be made here. We saw Schroeder's minutes come back down again. Horford pretty firmly at that 33 mark. He's averaging about 30. I'd like to give him another minute. Grant Williams is a little bit less so. Peyton Pritchard for about 12 minutes is fine. 30 for Robert Williams, I think I'm going to just have to go with. Although, maybe 29 feels a little bit... 29-19 feels like a better split there. Plus some more time for Horford. 34 for Jaylen Brown. I guess I got to go... Yeah, I think that's fine. 34 for Jaylen Brown. 35 for Jason Tatum. Do I need more from Marcus Smart? Probably not. I think we're good for Boston. Grant Williams is the only guy that I don't totally understand, because that guy plays a different amount of minutes. It's like 10, then 30, then 15, then 25. Can't wrap my head around him. All right, on to Orlando. Yeah, this is another team where we kind of just know the rotation. They're playing 9 guys without Gary Harris. Oh, Chumo Kiki is back. I forgot about that. So I assume if Gary Harris plays, they go to a normal 10-man rotation. Who can I give the 10 minutes I gave to Iggy Brazdakis to? Mo Wagner in for 10, so that's 13 additional minutes. I got Chuma in for 21. Cool. RJ Hampton's minutes look fine. I guess Cole Anthony's been playing more. Let's take him up to 33. Wendell Carter in for 29. I think I'm okay with that. 30 for Bamba. Probably want to go to 31. So let's move that around. Mo Wagner stays. Franz Wagner stays. 31 seems fine. 27 for Ross seems fine. 30 for Suggs. Yeah, okay. So where are these minutes going? Where in the world? Like, I can just give Gary Harris 12, but I don't really think that helps anybody. Maybe they go to more Gary Harris. Let's give Gary Harris 12. We're going to take 2 more from Mo Wagner. And I think that's, maybe 1 more from Chumo Kiki. Something like that. That feels about right. All right, let's look at Boston and Orlando. So for Boston, this one's tough. Another center in the 5K to 6K range. Robert Williams, 6,400 on FanDuel, 5,900 on DraftKings. Sure, works for me. Horford is just too expensive on FanDuel to get to. A little bit more reasonable on DraftKings. Not much else to like from Boston. If I look at Orlando, because 216 total, not ideal here. If we look at Orlando, lots more to like here. Mo Bamba for 6,600 on FanDuel. Franz Wagner across both sites. Terrence Ross across both sites as value if you need it. I assume we'll end up with better value than Terrence Ross. Suggs is fine, 5,400 on DraftKings. These prices are starting to stabilize. Cole Anthony's starting to climb. All right, that's where we're at. We're through 3 games, 9 minutes to go until we hit that 7 a.m. mark. 135 viewers, 64 likes. Half of you are asleep at the wheel. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. We need to get this pushed up closer to 100 by 7. All right, next game up. Chicago Bulls at the at the Philadelphia 76ers. This one is not going to... This one's going to be pretty interesting for Philly because I expect to have Joel Embiid, but I also don't... We're not going to have a lot else, and that's going to change some things up. Chicago, on the other hand, we just sort of need to work into what we saw for these 2 games with no Patrick Williams, and this has been pretty standard fare. Tony Bradley is backing up Nikola Vucevic. Dosunmu now is just getting 20 minutes, as is Derek Jones, as is Javonte Green. I see a good morning, so good morning to you as well. So we're going to need to give Dosunmu more minutes. Somebody. Alize Johnson just not in the rotation now. So we're going to get Derek Jones up to 19 minutes. I guess DeMar is just more of the 4 now. So that takes Dosunmu up to 16. I feel like I need to take 1 minute from Caruso. Bump that one up a little bit. But yeah, Chicago we're dialed in for. Now we got to look at Philly. For Philly, we know the deal here. Let me just look at Chicago quick because I didn't. Yeah, Levine in, no Patrick Williams, no Kobe White. So we know what we're doing here. Philadelphia. No Danny Green, no Tobias Harris, clearly no Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid is back. I got to take this whole rotation out, and we got to start from scratch. So, Joel Embiid, I think 32 minutes is the best that I can do. 16 for Andre Drummond. That part, pretty easy so far. I'm going to give Tyrese Maxey 31 minutes. We're going to say that Shake Milton is ostensibly the backup there for 17 minutes. We're going to give Seth Curry 32 minutes. Joe Glasgow, good morning. George Niang played 31 minutes with no Tobias Harris last time. Let's look at those rotations and firm up Philly, because the game was close. So they started Korkmaz. He played 24 minutes. That feels like a pretty likely scenario, but I think that he could also play more. I assume he starts again. Niang played the normal backup rotation, but then played the entire closing rotation. That would surprise me. That I wouldn't totally expect. Could happen. So I think that we want to look at something along the lines of maybe like 28 minutes for Niang. I'm going to give... Who else did we see? We saw Paul Reed get 10. They went to a 10-man rotation. Danny Green won't be here, so they might go bring in a 10th guy here, because we'll have no Danny Green, but we'll be swapping in Joel Embiid, so it'll still be 10. So let's assume Paul Reed gets a small rotation, and then Matisse Thybulle plays something around 24 minutes. And then I think that we assume Korkmaz plays something around 28 minutes. This is leaving me one additional guy, which is Isaiah Joe, I guess. Isaiah Joe is not going to play as much as I'm expecting, but it does leave me 6 minutes left over. Maxey's minutes are fine. Seth Curry's minutes are fine. Embiid's minutes are fine. Who do we want to take a stand on? I'm going to take Thybulle up to 26. I already have Niang at 28, so I guess this is just one of those things where someone has to get those minutes. And they're probably not going to go to an 11th guy. And I think getting Shake Milton to 21 is the actual method that we want to use here. So let's do that. Actually, do I want to go 21 or... Yeah, 21 seems fine. I think this works for Philly. Now, rates are going to be wrong, so I do want to update those so we can get an idea of what this looks like with with Joel Embiid. Because I don't know how much you guys know about the Sixers when there's no Tobias Harris and no Ben Simmons on the floor. But buckle up for this one. So no Simmons, no Embiid, no Tobias Harris. I don't know why I took Embiid off. That doesn't make sense. No Simmons, no Tobias Harris. In theory, I could take Danny Green off, but he's not a usage guy, so that's not really the impact that I'm looking for. Joel Embiid, since the beginning of last season, with no Simmons, no Harris on the floor. Not showing up yet because I don't think taking Danny Green off matters all that much. All right, Joel Embiid, 178 minutes with no Simmons or no Harris, which oddly sounds low, but I get it. 46% usage, 2.04 FanDuel points per minute. Clearly, I'm not going to give Joel Embiid a 46% usage rate. Shake Milton in that time. Actually, let's put Embiid on because I think that's an important distinction for planning out everybody else. We know that Embiid is at 46% usage. I can't go there. I think 38 is like the cap that I could realistically go to right now. So let's start there. After that, when other guys are on the floor with him, so the 86 minutes of Embiid on with, I don't know how Simmons just ended up in both spots. That's not what I wanted. 86 minutes with Simmons and Harris off, Embiid on. Maxey still got to a 20% usage rate, so I'm going to maintain that 20% usage rate. He gets assists. He does very little else. 0.96 fantasy points per minute. I think that's fine. We know that there's no Danny Green. I don't think he matters much. No one else really gets any usage, so I'm going to let the rest of the usage shake its way out however it chooses. So I actually think that I'm done with Philly here. And at which point, Joel Embiid is popping like absolute crazy. Now, if we just think about this time with Embiid, Embiid doesn't necessarily have to be off the or on the floor. Shake does see a big usage bump. Maxey does see a big usage bump. I'm just really scared to give those. We know Thibault is not going to be involved offensively. Furkan Korkmaz does do a bit. I think having him at 19% usage makes sense for this game, so I don't really have any other changes. Cancer, nothing I can do on that one, man. Joe, best of luck to you. All right, we got Chicago and Philly done. Let's look at these guys. Chicago Bulls. 8,400 for Vooch on FanDuel is probably my favorite price. Well, either Vooch or Lonzo are my two favorite prices on FanDuel. Lonzo's $1,400 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. Vooch is $700 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. It's 7 o'clock, 164 viewers, 92 likes. See if you can hit that thumbs up before the clock ticks to 7:01 and we can get into that triple-digit mark. Javonte Green for 3,200, probably worth some sort of look for the Bulls if you need a value piece. I think we'll find better value elsewhere. So my favorite plays here are Lonzo and Vooch on FanDuel. Very little else. Levine on FanDuel as well at 8,100. Ceiling it, like, we're talking about a 50 fantasy point day, printing money for Levine. That works for me. I think that's very reasonable. God, that coffee is hitting the spot today. All right, we're switching it over to Philly. This is where it's going to get crazy. Look at Joel Embiid. 9,700 on FanDuel, 10-3 on DraftKings. I got him with a 33% chance to boom across FanDuel and DK. Ceiling at 32 minutes, I have at 70 fantasy points. I think that seems pretty reasonable. And if he goes for 70, you're going to need him. He's the best play of the day. I got him at 1.63 FanDuel points per minute. I don't even think that's crazy. In terms of the rest of the value, Maxey, Korkmaz, Niang, all work. There's a lot you can go to here for Philly. That's not too bad at all. All right, let's save this workbook first and foremost. We're over 100 likes. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for that. Let's keep it moving. On to Toronto and Washington. Raptors are 3.5-point dogs in Washington. Do we have any news that matters? No Scotty Barnes, no Pascal Siakam. Everything's fine there for Toronto. For Washington, still no Rui, no Thomas Bryant, no Bertans. All right. Look at you, T. McBee, helping everybody out. All right, on to Toronto. This one should be pretty easy. We didn't have Scotty Barnes last time, so these are going to just be whatever we ended up getting out of rotations for the game that they played on Monday. 25 minutes for Precious. Those minutes are trending down. Kem Birch minutes trending up. I'm going to flip-flop these guys. 25-23. OG in for 36 minutes. I think that's just going to have to be right. Honestly, it should probably be 37 because we know this team. Dragic still didn't play, even with guys missing. Bonga also didn't play. That's fun to see. So we're going to say backup point guard run goes to Malachi Flynn. We know how that works. Banton ended up playing significantly less minutes. Didn't expect that one. So we got 15 minutes left over. Is that OT? No. Gary Trent in for 32. That number just needs to come up at this point. I think the goal is going to be more than that. Svi Mikhailuk got the start, played 30 minutes. Have to assume that happens again. So let's take him up to 30. Leaves me 8 left over. I'm going to give them to Bonga just because it makes my life easier. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, Boucher played 10 minutes. That's some Chris Boucher shit right there, man. You never know how that's going to shake out. All right, Toronto's fine. All those rates should be fine as well. On to Washington. So we need to take Bertans out. And everybody else should already be out. So if we look at Washington, looks like Corey Kispert is the most likely guy to just step into this rotation. 32 minutes for Dinwiddie. Sounds fine to me in a competitive game. 10 minutes for Aaron Holiday. 16 minutes for Neto. I don't have anything crazy there. Harrell and Gafford are going to continue their split, I'm sure. Yeah, straight 48 minutes. Let's go 26-22. 34 minutes for Kuzma. No changes for me. 36 minutes for Beal. Obviously no changes there. Denny, I guess, could see some extra time given no Bertans. So let's get him up to 20. KCP at 30 seems fine. So that leaves me 14 minutes. I think they just go to Corey Kispert and we call it a day. All right, so we're going to call that 2 and 18. And then we'll just make Kispert a 3, make it easier. Done. Wizards are done. Toronto's done. All right, we're moving through this pretty well, guys. I got to get focused, too. I've just been rambling. On the Toronto side, 3.5 point dogs, 218 total. Best plays from Toronto. Svi Mikhailuk is 3,700 on DraftKings, shooting guard, small forward eligibility. He's going to be one of the most popular guys of the day, assuming he starts again in Toronto. I think that's a great play. The best one we've seen so far, probably. $5,100 Gary Trent on DraftKings, sure. 8,500 or 8K Fred VanVleet, sure. The dude's just not shooting, which is concerning. I'm going to make a little tweak there. But still, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, 7,300 and 7,700. Given his stock ability, too, that's a guy that I'd like to get to. Toronto looks really good for today. If you want to roll the dice on Boucher again, I think that's a worthwhile endeavor because that ownership won't be there. But if you're playing anybody in this one, Svi Mikhailuk on DraftKings is your number one option. Nobody's close. Trent, VanVleet, Anunoby, all very similar, depending on what you're looking for and how much money you want to spend. On the Wizards side, Spencer Dinwiddie, 6,900 on FanDuel, 7,200 on DraftKings would be the first guy that I'd look at. KCP on DK at 3,700 is a value option. That's about it. Beal's fine. Not a lot to like from Washington here. I like the Toronto side a lot more. We're about halfway done. We're on to Atlanta and Brooklyn. Hawks are 5-point dogs in Brooklyn. And for Atlanta, we've got Q-tag on John Collins, probable on Trae Young and Bogdanovich. What do we know about John Collins for today? Left foot strain. First we're hearing of it. Have to assume he's playing until he's not. Nothing we could really read into on that one. So Atlanta's rotation, I assume, is just going to look pretty normal. I assume Kevin Herter's not on the injury report anymore? Nope. Okay. Are we supposed to assume that Kevin Herter is not in the rotation? That can't. No, he's still in the rotation. There's no way. There's no way. DeLon Wright and Lou Wilkes seem to be bouncing back and forth. Gorgie Jang's still the backup. I don't have anything else here. Bogdanovich probably could use an extra minute. I don't know who that comes. I guess that probably comes just easily from Gallo if it needs to. Reddish in for 26. Yeah, I can't really make any other changes to this Atlanta team. I think that they're where they need to be. Keep a close eye on Kevin Herter, though. If he moves his way out of the starting rotation, I would not be surprised to see him traded. All right, on to Brooklyn, a team that I feel like I don't project all that frequently. They're like the opposite of Indiana. What do we know for Brooklyn? I know there's no Nick Claxton. He's going to be out for about a week or two. Already doesn't have minutes, so it doesn't really matter. Millsap sat the last one. James Johnson got that time. I don't think that that's going to continue, so we're going to end up flip-flopping those guys. 21 minutes for Blake. We know 36 minutes for Durant, 36 minutes for Harden is where we want to be in competitive games, and this one should be competitive. Joe Harrison for 32 is fine. Patty Mills playing 20 minutes the past two games is, I think, pretty relevant. I'm going to knock him 2 minutes just to keep an eye. So we got 3 minutes left over here. Javon Carter, the benefit? Yeah, figured as much. DeAndre Bembry continuing to be a part of the rotation. This seems about good here. And I don't think we have many changes to make. So, let's look at this game. Atlanta. Assuming John Collins plays, Trae Young is 8,700 on FanDuel. You're going to want that. Clint Capella is 6,400 on FanDuel. You're going to want that. DeAndre Hunter is 4K on DraftKings. That is a worthwhile value play. Bogdanovich for 5,100 across both sites is worth a flyer. Not a ton from Atlanta, but those prices on FanDuel are just not at all what they should be. So don't be afraid to get away from Trae or Capella. And if John Collins ends up out, you're going to be boosting the value for Cam Reddish and Gallo and everybody like that. I don't think it changes anything for Clint Capella. Ryan, no, LeBron James will not play today. You've heard that here first, okay, Ryan? On the Brooklyn side, James Harden, 9,900 on FanDuel, 10-2 on DraftKings, sure. Kevin Durant, sure. I assume I'll prefer Harden to Durant. Bruce Brown, 4,500 on FanDuel is probably over projected. I don't know. I got him in at 30. How many minutes did he just play? Yeah, let's 86 some of these Bruce Brown minutes so that stops popping up like it's a real thing. There we go. Still okay, but not the same as it was. Yeah, Brooklyn's just hard to roster. It's just a lot of guys playing 20 minutes. Cross your fingers and hope you get the right one. So we have, what? 5 games to go. We're 45 minutes in. I think this is actually a pretty nice pace, given how long this normally takes me. My coffee is dwindling, which is kind of a bummer. Honestly, though, it is delicious today. Very necessary. All right, Denver. In Memphis. 1 point dogs, 212 total. Brian Buckley, what's going on? Good to see you. Austin Rivers out of the rotation. Bones Highland in. So let's deal with that. Otherwise, it's a 10-man rotation that we're pretty sure of at this point. Brian, I appreciate you hitting that like button. That helps, 29 minutes for Monty Morris, 18 for Facundo Campazzo. Let's say Will Barton gets that other one. So I have 8 minutes left over. We want to get Bones Highland to like 16. So now I have 5 minutes left over. Jermichael Green at 15 is right. Jeff Green at 14 is probably right. Michael Porter Jr. at 32 is probably wrong. Take him to 33. I'll take Dozier to 18. And that leaves me 3 minutes of spillover. I'm just going to give him to Austin Rivers because it doesn't matter. Let's look at Memphis. And I guess I probably should have actually looked at the injury reports for both of these teams. Denver is fine. We know what we're doing there. Memphis, no Dylan Brooks, although return is imminent. So I assume Memphis is just Memphis for this one. I gave Sam Merrill minutes. He didn't play. John Conchar did. They went 10 deep. Yep. So those are the 10. Ja in. Those minutes are good. Ja played a lot alongside Tyus Jones. We'll give Tyus Jones a little bit of a boost. That worked out well. 26 minutes for Steven Adams, I think is fine. 16 for Tillman. I'm just happy he's getting run. Jaren Jackson in for 30 is probably incorrect. Let's take 2 minutes away from him. Slow-mo, I think, can probably have an extra minute. Zaire Williams, pretty set at 6. So Bain and Melton are both at 29. Conchar in for 14. I don't really have like a natural spot where these 6 minutes just are dying to go. Sam Merrill it is. Let's look at Denver and Memphis. Man, all these games are really tight. Biggest favorite on the slate is Boston, but it's in Orlando. All the totals are like pretty tight in this 216 range. It's a really flat day. All right, Jokic is 11-2 on FanDuel, 11-4 on DraftKings. I think it's just very hard to want to prioritize Jokic over Embiid, given no Harris. Paying attention to Jokic's ownership will be interesting if he becomes like a pay up to be contrarian option. Aaron Gordon, 5,300 on FanDuel, 5K on DraftKings is probably my favorite value piece. Michael Porter Jr. continues to be a guy I will recommend at 6,100 on DraftKings. On the Memphis Grizzlies, $9,300 Ja on DK, $4,500 Steven Adams on DK. The center value is just nuts, man. Slow-mo for $4,100. That is not the worst price if you think that he can fall into a couple extra minutes, and I don't think it's crazy. No like clear value plays, but Memphis just in general is significantly better on DK than they are on FanDuel. John's $200 cheaper. Melton's $400 cheaper. Bain is $400 cheaper. Jaren Jackson is $800 cheaper. Steven Adams is $1,400 cheaper. Kyle Anderson is $900 cheaper. Zaire Williams is cheaper. Every single person on Memphis is cheaper on DraftKings than they are on FanDuel. Keep that in mind when constructing your lineups. 194 viewers, a ton more likes. Got to give another shout out to Prize Picks. Make sure you're using that promo code Awesemo when you sign up. We have a ton of tools on the site that'll help you out at Prize Picks, and you get up to $100 of a first match deposit bonus. I don't think that can be beat, really. Hugo, good morning. On to the Clippers. Clippers are 1-point dogs in Minnesota today. What do we know about the Clips? No Marcus Morris, no Serge Ibaka, so nothing new there. On the Minnesota side, no D'Angelo Russell, injured ankle, Q tag on Beverly. I think Malik Beasley might end up getting a bunch of minutes here, maybe. Or Jordan McLaughlin is going to pop, but something from Minnesota is going to be a big-time value. That's going to be interesting to see. We'll walk our way through the Clippers now, which shouldn't take much. They are really concentrating that rotation. Terrence Mann, 28 minutes. Maybe deserves a little bit more. Because I've got a 10-man rotation in here, but I don't really need all those minutes to go to like Amir Coffey or Justice Winslow. Zubac's in for 24. His minutes have been not great. Hartenstein pretty firmed up at 18. Batum, this is getting tricky for the Clippers, man, because they're not very good, and they're playing a lot of really not good dudes too. I actually think this rotation looks fine. I don't see natural places to make big changes. But Minnesota, on the other hand, that's going to be a little bit different now that we take D'Angelo Russell out. So Russell's gone. We didn't have Beverly last time out. Do we know anything further about Beverly? Because that actually matters. It's not that I think that he would get a ton of minutes, but if he's not playing, it makes Jordan McLaughlin look like a guarantee. Full participant in Tuesday's practice. All right, I'm going to assume that he's playing then. And he's been playing about 20 minutes a game, and I think that's just what we do. I already have him in, so that's perfect. Jordan McLaughlin, 24 minutes seems pretty reasonable. I have to. All right, Malik Beasley played 27 and 32 the past two times out. I'm going to take him up to 30. I think that feels safe. I still have 9 minutes left over. Taurean Prince probably needs most of those. Anthony Edwards in for 35 minutes. I am content with that. Towns in for 34. I'm going to give him 35 because I think that's more likely in a competitive matchup. 29 for Jaden McDaniels. I feel like I can walk off and go to 27. Jared Vanderbilt has been playing a little bit more. So I'm just going to take him up to 21. Josh Okogie just gets rotations. Malik Beasley's good. Taurean Prince averaging 14 minutes. Played 21. I got him in for 12. Let's take him to 14. Seven minutes left over. I do have a full 10-man rotation, though. Feels like Jordan McLaughlin would be the guy that would need more time. So Anthony Edwards is going to close. Cat's going to close. Honestly, Beverly can close this game if it's competitive. That's the real tricky part here. I don't see a natural place to give these minutes because they jerk these rotations around so much. Malik Beasley is about to pop aggressively on FanDuel. I don't know what his price is, but 30 minutes of Beasley is getting a lot of Beasley. Who deserves these minutes? That is the question. Do they go to like... It's possible they just get one additional rotation for a different non-point guard. I'm just gonna throw those minutes to Balmaro, who I do have projected, which is helpful. Yeah, I think that works. So Minnesota in, Clippers in. Let's look at the Clippers first. Again, 1-point dogs, 217 total in Minnesota. Reggie Jackson, 5,700 on FanDuel, 6,200 on DraftKings. He's been abysmal this year. Just can't get a shot to fall. 0.71 FanDuel points per minute thus far this season, but I think he's probably my favorite option. It's just a bunch of value, 4K value plays. Like, look at this. 43, 45, 46, 44, 42. All very, very similar plays, whether it's Batum, Mann, Kennard, Bledsoe, Zubats. I don't know how you pick out of those guys. I don't see myself getting to Paul George, though. 10-5 on FanDuel, 10-9 on DraftKings. There's too much value at the top. Guys like Embiid just blow them out of the water. All right, I'm Minnesota. Towns, 10-4 on FanDuel, 10-6 on DraftKings. I'd be happy to. Malik Beasley, though, is the clear... Well, one of the clear best pieces here. Beasley is 4,500 on FanDuel, 4,100 on DraftKings. Unquestionably going to be one of the most popular plays of the day, at least to start. If we get any word that he's not going to get a minutes boost, but I mean, he's played 30 minutes the last time out. He's going to be one of the highest owned players of the day, maybe the highest owned, based on what I'm seeing. Don't sleep on Jordan McLaughlin, though. 3,600 on FanDuel is a bit of a tougher sell, but he's still a great paydown option. He's the flat 3K on DraftKings, going to be very, very popular, especially if he's named the starter, which I assume would happen. In theory, they could start Beverly, and that would probably firm up Beverly for like 24 minutes. For right now, I would rather go to Jordan McLaughlin than Patrick Beverly. That 3K price tag on DraftKings is very interesting to me. Edwards seems fine, but Malik Beasley is the stud. Honestly, Jaden McDaniels for 3,300 on DraftKings, even still 27 minutes, I don't think is crazy. Not a guy that I like getting to, but I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. All right. 3 more games to go. Hope you guys are enjoying it. 220 viewers. We're over 100 likes. You guys are the best. Let's go to Dallas and San Antonio. Oh, there's going to just be nothing but question marks for this one. On the Dallas side, Q tag on Zinger, no Maxey for an extended amount of time. Who the hell knows on Trey Burke? Dude, just not getting his COVID tests. I don't get the sense he's going to be long for Dallas. What do we do with Porzingis? Hopefully he's able to play Wednesday. So I think we project Porzingis in today, since that seems to be like the prevailing wisdom. All right. So if we do that, we take away the minutes for Boban Marjanovic, Josh Green. I'm going to take Ntilikina's minutes. I'm going to take Sterling Brown's minutes. We're going to take Dwight Powell back down to 24. I'm going to take Willie Cauley-Stein down to 10. Then we can go 14 for Zinger at center. And we'll say another 14 at the 4. So 28 minutes. Okay, that'll be fine. Luka popping pretty aggressively for me. That will be something to look at for sure. Yeah, that'll be fine. Jalen Brunson, I assume, takes a bit of a minute's haircut if he's not here. So let's take him back down to 25 minutes. I got Reggie Bullock in for 27. That's not going to hold. Let's take him down to 25. Or 24, I guess. Tim Hardaway's minutes look fine. Dorian Finney-Smith's minutes look fine. Frank Ntilikina just continues to play. He's playing about 18 minutes a game. I'm going to continue that rotation. So we'll pop him in. That gives me 9 guys and 10 minutes left over. Those are just going to go to Sterling Brown. So let's do this. We'll go 12, 18, and 15. Bang, Sterling Brown. Done. Dallas, done. San Antonio up next. Tricky teams sometimes. Do we have anything we need to worry about today, though? Q-tag on McDermott. What do we know? I know how long he's been out. I just don't know if he's close. Looks like he could return tomorrow. All right, so we're going to put McBuckets into this rotation, which means that we're probably taking Thad Young out of it. Unfortunately. 31 for Pirtle, 12 for Eubanks. Let's take the Keita Bates Diop minutes out as well. Keldon Johnson seems fine. McDermott was playing 25 minutes a game. I think that looks okay. What do we do with the rest of this? Who wasn't playing that many minutes? That's really the more interesting piece. Definitely Bryn Forbes, so we take him down to 12. When McDermott was in, it really wasn't Keita Bates-Diop. Vassell and Lonnie Walker were both playing about 24 minutes a game, so we'll take that down to 24. We'll take Vassell down to 24. That leaves me 15 minutes for whoever I think is going to be the last guy in this rotation. Maybe it is Thad Young. Maybe we just do this and call it. That's probably what it is. Played the last 2 games. I think that might continue now. Although, honestly, it should probably be Diop. Let's do this. Let's go that direction. So San Antonio and Dallas are in the books. We look at Dallas. Luka Doncic, 10-3 on FanDuel, 10-7 on DraftKings. Happy to pay up for him. He's looking like probably my second favorite pay-up option, just the way that I'm looking at it right now. I think that seems about right. Tim Hardaway Jr. is $5K on FanDuel, $6,500 on DraftKings. You can play him on FanDuel. That is not a bad price. Dwight Powell, $3,800 on DraftKings if you need value. That's totally fine. Dorian Finney-Smith, $4,700. I think that's fine as well. Or San Antonio. Derek White, $6,100 on FanDuel, $6,300 on DraftKings. That is my favorite Spur. Most of these guys are more expensive on DK or on FanDuel than they are on DraftKings, so you're probably looking to the Spurs more on DraftKings. Keldon Johnson, McDermott if he plays, Vassell. DeJounte Murray for $8,900 on FanDuel is not the worst, given the way that he accumulates stats. I think you can get there if he gets a steals day. 1 hour in the books. Honestly, we should get to 200 likes at that point. We should ask for 100 by 7 and 200 by 7:30. My Charlotte Hornets on the left coast. 6-point dogs against the Golden State Warriors. What do we know for the Hornets? Nothing. Everybody's fine for the Hornets. Damian Lee is in for Golden State. Let's switch to water now. All right, so my Hornets. This basically can't have changes, I would imagine. This is just sort of the same rotation pretty much every night. 27 minutes for Plumlee. Does that work? Yes, it does. Cody Martin got more run than PJ Washington. PJ Washington has played 3 straight games of minimal minutes, which is something to behold. Rozier for 31, that can go up, I guess. LaMelo for 31, that can hold. Oubre took the haircut. 5 and 33, that makes it easy. Gordon Hayward seems fine. Ish played a little bit less. That's interesting. Yeah, Keith, overslept, but we're still here. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. I mean, I don't really have anything else I can change for Charlotte. I can't give Cody Martin that many minutes. I don't know where to take them from, and I'm not taking them from PJ Washington. That's insane. There's nowhere else to take the minutes from. So we go to Golden State, a team where, I don't know, this could probably look a couple different ways. Jimmy, nothing else for me. I am literally done. With the moment I leave the strategy show, you guys won't hear from me again today. They dusted off Moses Moody last time out. That's fun. 32 for Draymond. Cool. Steph in for 36, and I probably still won't get him. Although, I think Steph might have like an oddly low price on FanDuel today. Jordan Poole seems fine at 28. Wiggins seems fine at 31. Iggy's playing about 21 minutes a game. Otto Porter's minutes seem pretty firm around 18. So guess we know what we're getting here. Juan Toscano Anderson, maybe the only guy that's getting like jerked around in minutes, but I don't know. I don't think it matters. It's not like we're going to get to him. So let's look at it. Damn, only one more game to go after this. We moved through this a little bit better than I was expecting. Miles Bridges, 8,100 across both sites. I cannot justify that price tag. However, 5,500 for Terry Rozier on FanDuel, 6,800 on DraftKings. You got to be playing Terry Rozier on FanDuel, and probably a lot of him. That is a broken price tag for him. Gordon Hayward is 6,500 on FanDuel, 7,300 on DraftKings. I like Gordon Hayward there. Mason Plumlee looking okay. But Terry Rozier on FanDuel for Charlotte is like one of the best plays we've looked at so far. He should not be 5,500. That price is incorrect. Golden State. Yeah, 10-1 for Steph on FanDuel, 11-1 on DraftKings. I like that 10-1 price tag for Steph on FanDuel, actually. I think he's going to pop up more than he normally does. For me, at least. Jordan Poole, 5,200. There's some value there. Draymond on DK, 7,100. Especially with like the idea of potentially getting a triple-double bonus. Falls off after that. Iggy as a value play, maybe. Really curious to see these crunches. They're going to look powerful. And we know a couple guys that are just guaranteed to be in them. All right, on to the Pels. This, I assume, is just going to look like an utter disaster because we don't know the status of Brandon Ingram, right? Ingram questionable. Herb Jones doubtful. Okay, so he went out yesterday. What do we know about Ingram? I assume precious little. Didn't participate in shoot around, so I'm going to treat it like Ingram isn't playing. I don't think it's likely, if he didn't do shoot around yesterday, that he plays today. Which means I also don't think that we're going to get Herb Jones if he has concussion symptoms. Although we'll know more at shoot around for that one, so I guess I should probably leave him in. It'll also make this entire exercise a little bit easier. Let's say we want... So Satoransky didn't get into the game. That's something. We'll take those minutes away, I guess. All right. So, Sean, that is legitimately one of the worst sentences I've ever read. The Mavs will not regret the Luka Doncic contract. Every single team in the league would give it to him. They would take him right now if they could. It's a good contract for one of the best players in the league. Luka plays no defense could not be a worse take for this season. His one-on-one defense has been significantly better. He's holding up a lot better in the post. Is he going to be staying in front of your best ball handlers? No. Is he supposed to? No. Is he likely to get caught drifting if he's not keeping an eye on someone? Yes. But in terms of individual, like man-to-man defense, way better than it seems. Way better than it seems. It's the Luka's size is the reason that like Trae Young can't ever catch him. Think about that. But yeah, Sean, that's legitimately one of the worst takes I've ever seen in chat. Truly bad. Like, you should get help for it. Kyra Lewis, Najee Marshall. Not too much we need to change here, rather. We'll bump up Najee Marshall. Devontae Graham's minutes seem fine. Joe Val seems fine. I mean, it's also possible that Jason Kidd is going to ruin him. That's a real thing, but I think that this is just sort of like what it's going to be. I mean, if they're going to play Temple 20 minutes, we can deal with that. I don't really have anybody else I want to change here. Anybody else need a minute's change? I'll just give 3 spillovers to Sato. And then we close this entire gig out with the Sacramento Kings. And I believe everybody's in for Sacramento. I don't remember seeing anything other than the fact that De'Aaron Fox was doo-doo in the first half. Yeah, this is going to be the same rotation as usual. So, Len played yesterday, which means we're going to give those minutes to Tristan Thompson for today. Rashawn Holmes will bump up to 30 minutes. Everything else here should be the exact same as it normally is. They don't mess around and do weird shit. Ooh, Terrence Davis didn't play. They went to more Mo Harkless. Doesn't seem like that's the sort of thing that they would do against the Pels. So I think we're set in stone here. Honestly, maybe I need more. Let me give 1 more minute to Davion Mitchell just in case. All right, let's look at it here. Final game, and then we're going to run some crunches. Yeah, Sean, that's a different discussion. If you want to tell me that you think the Hawks are better than the Mavericks, that's fine. If you think that... you're killing me here. You're ruining my morning with terrible takes. New Orleans Pelicans, 5.5-point dogs in Sacramento. Joval. Just continue to jam this dude into lineups. 1.32 fantasy points per minute this season. I think it looks good for today. 8,800 on FanDuel, 8,500 on DraftKings. Herb Jones, if he can play, is 3,400. I think that works. Josh Hart, 4,900 on DraftKings. That works for me. There's some value to be had for the Pelicans. Nothing too crazy. Joval going to be popular. Should be popular, at least. For Sacramento, I'm going back to $7,700 De'Aaron Fox. I'm sure he'll kill me. I'm going to $6,300 Rashawn Holmes a bit. That looks good. Mo Harkless for $3,200. Don't sleep on it as a value play if he's going to play 20-plus minutes. Halliburton's fine. Barnes is fine. I don't want Buddy Hield all that much, but $5,900 on DraftKings is better. Now, let's run a crunch. Ronald Jones. Herb took an elbow and left with concussion symptoms. Alrighty. First one up. FanDuel. Optimals. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. It helps me out a lot. And I think this has been a particularly good show. Really curious to see where this ends up. But there's a few pieces that I just know will be there. For example, we've got optimal lineup. Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, Terry Rozier, Svi, OG Anunoby, Malik Beasley, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Joval. That is a balanced lineup that does not contain Joel Embiid, which I did not expect. That's how good Joval is. Most expensive guy in that lineup is 8,800. So a balanced build is super easy today. You can drop down 1/10 of a point, get to either of these two, where you swap out like Jared Allen for Bamba or Batum in for Svi, I guess. What are these power rankings going to look like? Let's find out. Power rankings on FanDuel. All right, De'Aaron Fox, enough of you. Here's the problem with De'Aaron Fox for me. Let's go to Sacramento. One, they're playing the Pelicans. That team's terrible. Offensively, defensively, whatever you want to call it. The team's atrocious. Mike Verderosa, I don't use Power Query. If we look at the Kings just this year, Even if we just want to be like, this year. 0.94 fantasy points per minute, 28.5% usage for Fox. Is that my issue? Yeah, all right. Let's take him down to 28.5%. I'm willing to make that change. We're going to recrunch. It's still going to get us a lot of Fox, but I'm willing to bring it down a little bit. 8.5% assist rate. I can't go any lower than 9 there. So I don't think this is going to change all that much. Let's see if it affected the optimal. It shouldn't, but I did drop him one. It's probably like a fantasy point drop. Turn off randomness. Optimals did change. Brought in Robert Williams. That I'm not comfortable with. See, now I'm going to work my way through this. But I did want to make an adjustment to Robert Williams anyway. This would have been something that happened later on in the day. Robert Williams, 11% usage. I don't mind 12.4. 2.5, 5.5, 7.5. That's where we're really getting into the issues. We'll take him down another one rebounding spot. Now, this is where we get the optimals for FanDuel. This is where we get the optimals for DraftKings. Firming it up. Lillard, Fox, Rozier, Mikhailuk, OG Anunoby, Malik Beasley, Evan Mobley, Joval. That's where we stand on FanDuel. Same balanced build, just a little bit of tweaks. Let's turn that rando back on and find out what the power rankings are. And like I said, a lot of this is pretty obvious. Malik Beasley is going to be one of the bigger value plays of the day. I'm going to continue to go to $8,300 Dame Lillard until I can't. Just don't see the reason not to. Evan Mobley looks good. De'Aaron Fox, he's just my dude. Rozier, fantastic today. OG, Robert Williams, Joval, Embiid. Embiid is so much lower than I expected, even at like 8th or 9th or whatever. Luka climbing. Luka is the preferred pay-up option. Not what I was expecting, but I'm okay with it. I don't think that's all that crazy. 10-3 is just low for Luka. Like, there's a ceiling there. Not as involved assist-wise, like 5, 4, 5. That's lower than I was expecting. A couple 3 rebound games. The pieces are all going to fit together at some point in time because the usage is still there. But this is what we got going on for FanDuel. Let's bump it over to DraftKings. And as I mentioned at the leadoff, just in case you didn't hear the beginning of the show, no updates for me tonight. I will not be around. I have plans. I'm not playing this slate. I am just not going to be here. So what you see now is what you get for the day. I won't know how any of this goes. Alrighty. Optimal lineups on DraftKings are as follows. Jordan McLaughlin, Svi Mikhailuk, Malik Beasley, Lauri Markkanen, Joel Embiid, Devontae Graham, Luka Doncic, Rashawn Holmes. So interesting to see double pay-up option on DraftKings, fully balanced build on FanDuel, because we get guys like Jordan McLaughlin at 3K that open things up. Optimal Bamba over Allen, seriously. I mean, that's not like a thing that matters, is he? It's a very meaningless distinction. Randomness on, power rankings on DraftKings. Yeah, Beasley by miles and miles, it appears. Maybe not miles and miles, but a lot of miles. Rashawn Holmes popping a lot. A little scary against the Pels, but I can understand it a bit. Svi as a value, Joval popping, Jared Allen, James Harden higher than I was expecting, Norm Powell right where I thought he would be, Luka climbing, preferred pay-up option it seems. Talk that through on the strategy show. Not too much else here to really dig into. Malik Beasley is very clearly the top play on DraftKings, or at least as of right now. Svi looks like a really nice value play if he continues to start for Toronto with no Scotty Barnes. Rashawn Holmes just looking good. I don't really have anything to add here. I mean, it's probably just a Pelicans thing. No, he's just been good. I mean, we're talking about a guy around 6K and just ultra consistent. He's doubled in all but 2 games so far. Pretty easily, too, I might add. If the blocks and steals fall or something along those lines. I mean, at 6,300, you're going to be pretty happy with, like, 40. I mean, he's in sniffing distance of 40 if he's not getting it pretty regularly. So I like that Rashawn Holmes play. Guys, any final questions before we get out of here? Power rankings for FanDuel and optimal lineups for FanDuel and DraftKings are done. What do you got for me? Anything else before we leave? I got to record some contenders videos, and that's sort of it. I can get a relatively light morning. Just got to get to the strategy show. I think we're going to pack it in for the 240 people that are watching. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Tell your friends this is the place to be to start each morning. You got to know it. Yeah, I think we're done. Nothing else coming into chat. So, shout out once again to Prize Picks. For sure. It's great having you guys. Tomorrow, 5-game slate. It might be a little bit of a struggle for me. I'm hoping that I can get to bed relatively early since I don't have to do any late swaps. Once dinner is done and I get home, I'm hoping that I can just knock out pretty early and get the sleep. Otherwise, I'm going to be dragging. But it helps that Thursdays are a little bit easier. And I actually don't think that I'm on the strategy show tomorrow, which is like doubly helpful. I'll be on the deeper dive with Adam, so that'll open up a little bit of time in the morning. But either way, the process show will be here. 6:30 a.m. Eastern time every single day, Monday through Friday. By the way, Liverpool plays today. Yeah, there we go. I'm pointing to Trent, right? Shout out to Trent Alexander-Arnold and Liverpool taking on Atletico at Anfield today. I'm going to sort of see some of it, which is nice. But either way, guys, enjoy yourselves. Good luck today. Don't forget, I'm not around tonight. I'll see you guys in the morning. Good luck.